Hello guys, today we will cover a topic SQL Server alter table command. SQL Server alter table command basically is used to modify the data type of an existing column, to add a new column, to add a new constraint in our table, to remove an existing constraint, and to drop an existing column from a table. So following these purposes, as I have mentioned here, we have a respective syntaxes that is used as per the requirement. So let's cover them one by one. First I'm going to cover alter table add column command. So alter table add column command basically is used to add a new column in our table. Suppose we have a table, select star from sample. As you can see, the tables are having only 4 columns: ID, name, code, age. Now I have a requirement to add one more column in our table. Let's say date, registration date of data type date time. So how would I do? I will use alter table add column command. So here I'm going to write the column command to add any column in our table. Alter table name sample, add column name. So I'm going to add new column, let's say registration date of data type date time. So this command is going to add a new column in our tables sample table, and the column name will be a registration date and of type date time. So here I have executed the command and it's completed successfully. Let's check the table and you can see the column is added here successfully. I can also check the data type of this column by using command sp underscore help and the column name registration date. Here we will pass a table name because we want to see the structure of table, and you can see it will let us know the complete details of table, like whatever the constraint is being used on table column, size of column, data type. So you can see the data type of registration date column is date time. So alter table command is used to add a new column in table. Now we go back to another syntax. So other syntax is to change the data type of column. Let's copy it here. Now we have a requirement to change the data type of an existing column. In this case we use the command alter table alter column. So as we have recently added the column registration date and we have added this column in our table and the data type of this column was date time. Now we want to change the date time column to date only, date. Then we will do like this: alter table names. We'll pass here table name sample, then alter, then we will pass column name registration date, then column name alter table alter column, then column name is registration date, then new data type only date. So what it will do, it will change the data type of registration date column to date. Now let's execute this command and command is completed successfully. Let's quickly check the table. The table is fine, column is also there. Let's check the data type of the column to make sure whether it is changed or not. We execute the command and we check. Now the data type of this column is date. Earlier it was date time. So to modify the data type of an existing column, we use alter table, alter column command. Now we go back to another syntax. So the another syntax is to drop an existing column. It is very simple. Suppose we have an existing column and we want to drop an existing column, so then we will use alter table drop command. So here we have a restriction column that we have recently added. Now we going to drop this column. So we will use the query is written here, alter table name. Here we will specify table name sample, then drop column and then column name that we want to drop. So column name is restrict. Let's quickly execute it, and command is completed successfully. It means the restriction column is deleted from the table, and we can see there is no column, it's deleted. So to drop an existing column, we can use this command. Now quickly go back to the syntax. Now the syntax is add constraint. Like if we want to add a new constraint in our table column, we can use add constraint command. So here I'm going to paste it here. Constraint is basically is used to specify a rules on table column. Like suppose if we have a column and we want to validate the value of that is being inserted in that column, so in that case we use constraint like check constraint. Simply we can use default constraint. Suppose if we don't pass any value for any particular column, then default value is inserted there. So for this we have a default constraint. Similarly we have a primary key constraint, like to maintain the uniqueness of records in table, so we apply a primary key on table column. Similarly we have a unique key constraint. So there are so many constraints in SQL Server. So if we want to add any constraint in table column, so we can use alter table add constraint commands. Here I'm going to add a check constraint that will check the value for column. So alter table name is sample, add constraint, then constraint name we can give any constraint name like check age. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to add here check constraint that will check like age should be greater than 18. So if I apply this constraint on age column, it will ensure the value for age column should be greater than 18. So whatever the value that will be less than 18, it will raise an error. So in case if we want to add a constraint in existing table column, then we can use this command alter table name, then add constraint and constraint conditions. So I'm going to apply here check constraint. So here we have so many constraint in SQL Server. So that is the other topic. So let's execute this command, and commands get successfully executed. So let's quickly check the table. Table is fine, and let's check the table structure. Now you can see the constraint check constraint on column age, and the constraint condition is age greater than 18. So whatever the value will be for each column should be greater than 18, otherwise it will not allow to add it in our table. Let's quickly check. Suppose we have suppose we are going to insert record in our table sample, insert into sample table. First we have to make sure for the id column whether it is identity or not, because for identity column we don't need to pass the value. So here the column is not identity, so we have to pass the value for identity column. Okay, no, don't worry, we will pass for the value for all column one by one. Name, code, age. So values, suppose a value for id1, name, here I'm passing random value, suppose let's say xyz. For code it will be 56 xyz. Now for each, because we have a check constraint on each column, so let's check whether it is working fine or not. First we will pass the value less than 18, so here I'm going to pass 17. So let's check what happens. I'm going to execute this query, and here you can see it is giving an error, means check constraint check age on each column conflicts the error. It means the check constraint is working fine. Now if I give this value more than 18, so let's say 19, so it get inserted successfully. So I can check, here it is the record. So using this query we have added a new constraint in our table. Let's quickly go back to another syntax. Now drop an existing constraint. So this query helps us to drop an existing constraint. As you can see, recently we have added a check constraint on our table column age. So we are going to remove that column. So to remove an existing constraint, we need the ID of constraint that we want to remove. So we can see, as we have passed the ID is checked age, so we can use this ID to drop the constraint from table column. If we don't have the ID and we don't remember the ID, we can check the ID using this command. Here you can see the constraint name is check underscore age. This is the ID for constraint. So if we want to drop the constraint, we need this ID, or we can also copy from here. So what I will do, I will write the query to drop the check constraint from each column, alter table name sample, then drop, then constraint, and then constraint ID. Because to drop the constraint from table column, we don't need to pass here table column name. We need to specify here constraint ID. So whatever the constraint will be on table column, we need to pass the ID for this column if we want to drop the column constraint. So after executing this query, it will delete the constraint from table column. We can check table is fine. We can also check the table structure now. Here we can see there is no constraint on table now, so it means the constraint is deleted successfully. Now let's try to insert the record less than 18 to make sure whether the constraint is removed or not. Because there is now no constraint on this table, so this should be inserted successfully. As we can see, the one row is affected, it means it get inserted, and here we have another record. So don't worry about the ID column or duplicate value, because it's just a sample. So in this way we can use alter table command. So for any requirement, if we want to add a new column in our table, want to drop an existing column, want to add new constraint, want to drop an existing constraint, want to modify the data type of an existing column, in such cases we use alter table command. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you like the video, please do subscribe the YouTube channel, SQL Server Tutorial YouTube channel. Thanks for watching the video.